one thing I know from experience is once they run out of gas, you never get them back. Listen, I talked to Detroit. One way they're going to go and address this is they have 9 defensive linemen active today. They're going to be rotating the big guys in. 2 guys keep an eye on that are going to be starting today, Jason Jones and Haloti Ngata. Remember, neither one of these guys got 1 rep in the preseason. We're going to find out real quick what kind of shape those guys are in.
We're going to be following those and many others with Tony down on the field throughout the afternoon. We're delighted to have you with us. The Chargers won the toss, chose to defer to the second half. Amir Abdullah, the rookie, waits back in the end zone, and he will take a knee. Matthew Stafford, just 27 years old, yet he starts his 7th season as a starting quarterback for the Detroit Lions. And you see all time, that's most 282 yards per game for Stafford. You have to remember last year, Golden Tate had the big season. Calvin Johnson missed 3 games and parts of 2 others with the ankle injuries. What's in store for the Lions here in 2015? They give it to Joique Bell, and he picks up maybe a yard on first down, wrapped up by Corey Liuget. Now the offensive lines, big stories for both of these teams. The only starter from a year ago with the Lions who's back there this year is the left tackle Riley Reiff. More on that shortly. The number 1 pick Tomlinson starts at left guard, and weapons aplenty.
Yeah, how about the double dip right there? Calvin Johnson, Golden Tate. Do you double one and leave one to run free? Pick your poison with those 2.
About to find out, it appears, on a second down and 9. And dumped off, able to pick up a first down is Golden Tate. 99 receptions a season ago for Tate and earned him a trip to the Pro Bowl. For San Diego defensively, they're counting on a lot of very young players, Charles, who've yet to prove themselves, especially in the front 7.
And they're younger, they're faster. Corey Liuget is the leader up front in the front 7. But on the back end, Eric Weddle is the guy who makes them go. Detroit has got to find out where he is at all times and keep him away from the football.
They need healthy years, especially from Teo, Melvin Ingram. There's a first down carry to Joique Bell. Powerful runner up to the 39-yard line. A solid gain on first down. We'll call it 7.
Coming out trying to establish that run, I tell you, not what I was expecting from this Detroit team after seeing them in the preseason with all those weapons that you talked about, Charles.
You know, Tony, Charles, sometimes you hear teams always talk about wanting to run the football, and they rarely ever do it. You get the feeling both of these teams really want to try it.
They want to try it, but I don't think either will outguess themselves. If they're going to do a better job throwing it, they will go in that direction.
Second down and 3, 4-man rush, and that's Abdullah. And he is smothered immediately by Donald Butler, 6th-year backer out of Washington. Another guy they have to have healthy along with Ingram and Teo to have any chance.
And welcome back Donald Butler, who played so well in 2013. Got a big-time contract. 2014, didn't play nearly to that level. Finished the season hurt with a dislocated elbow. He's back, rejuvenated, and you saw him on the last play making plays as he did in 2013.
Down in 3, blitz coming, dumped over the middle, and that's good enough for a first down, and that's Calvin Johnson as he lunges forward to the 35-yard line.
Did you mention that Calvin Johnson did not play at all in the preseason? I think that came up, didn't it? Talk about some fresh legs, huh, Tony?
Oh, man, let me tell you. You hit it right on the head, man. Pick your poison with Golden Tate or Calvin Johnson. You know what? The way Golden Tate played in the preseason, it's just going to make Calvin Johnson better because those guys are going to be fighting for balls. Who wants it more? I'll tell you what, both of them are great competitors. I'm eager to see how this game goes.
That's a 120th consecutive game. Calvin Johnson has at least 1 reception. Rolling right, Stafford looking to the end zone and missed an open Lance Moore. Johnson just turned 30 years young. missed, he mentioned 3 games, parts of 2 others with high ankle sprains last year. Still managed over 1,000 receiving yards, so it was his lowest total since 2009. He says he is ready to go. 7th play of this season opening drive for Stafford and the Lions, 2nd and 10. Set up the screen. Joyce Bell, not only a powerful runner, he's a very good receiver.
And they are a good screen team, and part of the reason is those high flyers out wide. The wide receivers don't mind getting downfield and blocking and helping out the running backs when they get the screen. You see the big guys in front. Right there with 63, Manny Ramirez. But the wide receivers also do a nice job getting downfield and helping out in the screen game.
Those defensive backs do not want to see those big bodies downfield.
2nd, 3rd down this drive. Stanford has hit on 4 of his first 5. We'll call it 3rd and 2. Abdullah, a first down, trying to get to the end zone. Amir Abdullah scores his first career touchdown on his first career carry. 24 yards to the end zone by Amir Abdullah.
How about the offensive guard? 72, Laken Tomlinson. 63, Manny Ramirez. And then in the middle, 64, Travis Swanson. Look at the crease right there. And then Abdullah gets it done with the shake and into the end zone, Tony.
You're absolutely right. Both of those defensive tackles were in wide 3 techniques. The whole middle of the field was wide open, but Abdullah didn't go and attack it right off the bat. What he did is he went to the outside, he lined up so he can go and give his offensive lineman a good angle on those guys to block them, and then he cuts back in the middle, and that's why it was wide open. Did a great job of setting those guys up.
That was running right into Tony Siragusa, though, big fella. I don't think they still want to hit you after all these years, do they?
No, I don't want to get hit anymore, especially in this heat.
7-0 Detroit.
Game is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com.
A very impressive opening drive for the Detroit Lions. 8 plays, 80 yards. Abdullah the touchdown from 24 yards out on the first rushing attempt of what should be a very good NFL career.
You did mention that both of these teams want to do a better job running the football. Detroit did on that first drive.
Sam Martin kicks it away. Jacoby Jones, a former Super Bowl hero of the Ravens, and he is met at the 19-yard line. Philip Rivers starts a 145th consecutive game in his career, 2nd longest active streak to Eli Manning in the NFL. And since coming into the league, only Drew Brees has thrown for more passing yards than Rivers.
They don't make him any tougher than Philip Rivers, guys.
No, they do not. He's proven through the years physically tough, mentally tough, such an unbelievable competitor. The Lions could not say enough good things about this San Diego quarterback yesterday. That's Melvin Gordon, the #1 pick out of Wisconsin, standing to the left of Rivers out of the shotgun. Quick hit to Keenan Allen. And depending on the spot, that should be a gain of close to 5. We look at the rest of the Chargers, and again, their line like Detroit. Only King Dunlap starts in the same position from this time a year ago.
DJ Fluker moves inside to guard from tackle, but here's the big story. Antonio Gates, their all-star tight end, not going to play the first 4 games, suspended. Ladarius Green will get the start, but how will they make that up? Look for Stevie Johnson, their new addition at wide receiver, to take a lot of those tight end type plays working in the middle of the field.
We're very excited about Johnson and what he might bring. And look out, Gordon. Welcome to the NFL. That's Ezekiel Ansah slamming Gordon to the deck.
They're the ones you dream about right there, these hits. Watch Ezekiel right here. Goes, identifies it, sees it, seeks it, boom! Right off the line of scrimmage. Nice job of wrapping up. Just stops him right in his tracks, Charles.
And he's supposed to be known as a pass rusher. Look what he's adding to his game, being stout at the point of attack against the run.
Of course, all the losses along that defensive front, including the great Ndamukong Suh, who went to Miami. Also lost Nick Fairley, and Johnson, and Mosley, and Llewellyn. Yet they still believe this is going to be an outstanding defense. Good pressure, and down goes Rivers from behind. That's Philip Hunt. the former Canadian Football League star, his first sack on this opening drive.
And Tony, when you had it going in Baltimore, you guys worked together up front and in the secondary. And on this play, I think the secondary really contributed to the sack.
Yeah, they did a phenomenal job. You know, you talk about pass rushing, and that's exactly what this Detroit defensive line does. They pass rush every down. They say, listen, we're going to play the run on our way to the quarterback. And that's why you see those guys upfield all the time getting pressure like we saw here in this last series.
Run by Mike Cyphers. This is Golden Tate with some running room from the 28-yard line. Cuts it out to the left and now tries to turn the corner. Crosses a 45. Run out of bounds close to midfield. Excellent return by Golden Tate of 20 yards. Chargers defense tries to regroup. 7-0 Detroit.
This game is sponsored by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL.
7-0 Detroit. Second possession of the game for Stafford and the Lions in very good field position starting from their own 47. Play fake to Joyke Bell. Down the field, underthrown with an eye on Johnson.
And how about the last drive? Ameer Abdullah, welcome to the NFL. The setup he had to run the ball was perfect. Look at this. See where the tackles are for San Diego? And when they stretch it out, Ameer Abdullah doesn't just go right to the hole. He goes laterally first to set up the blocks from his guards, Ramirez and Laken Tomlinson. Then on the cutback, he fools Eric Weddle once he gets to the secondary. Very well schemed play and well run by Ameer Abdullah.
Well, not just wearing Reggie Bush's number 21 jersey, he's expected to contribute immediately for the Lions, and obviously has done so thus far. Here's a very interesting story, guys. Charles, Tony, every time we brought up the name, the rookie out of South Dakota State, Zach Zenner, immediately a smile and enthusiasm on everybody we talked to about this kid.
And everyone said the exact same thing, didn't they, Tony? When Zach Zenner got the ball, it was perfectly blocked every time, and they realized after a while it couldn't be coincidence.
You know, I got a chance to talk to him before the game here, and I just congratulated him on being a free agent and getting in here, and how all the people, everyone's talking about him. And he says, you know, I'm a little nervous. I says, listen, when you stop getting nervous, that's when you got to get out of this game. The butterflies are what we live for as players. And he just smiled and said, thank you, and I'm excited to watch and see what this guy contributes to the NFL.
Third down, Stafford, and that should have been caught, it looked like. That's Eric Ebron, the number 1 pick, and a disappointment as a number 1 pick a year ago.
And this is what they didn't need from Eric Ebron early. What did he have trouble with as a rookie? Drop passes. They needed him to catch the ball cleanly early, get some confidence, because they need to develop that third receiver to go along with Calvin Johnson and Golden Tate. And by the way, couldn't be thrown any better than that.
He was a 10th overall pick out of North Carolina last year. Everybody told us with the Lions he's grown up, he's matured, he's learned the offense under Joe Lombardi. And an early drop. Martin trying to pin him inside the 15 and does so. The fair catch at the 12. We're in San Diego and the Chargers back on offense when we return.
This game is sponsored by the Lincoln Motor Company and the entirely new Lincoln MKX. By Samsung, introducing the new Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge Plus and the new Galaxy Note 5. And by DraftKings, free 1-week fantasy football at DraftKings.com.
It's a red-hot gas lamp district in downtown, a different sort of red-hot. Up the road here in San Diego, temperatures very high, first down. And Melvin Gordon makes a catch out of the backfield, takes a big hit up to the 22-yard line, but a gain of 8. Gordon grew up in Kenosha, Wisconsin, a star-studded collegiate career with the Badgers. Charles, you had a chance to see him many times. He is special.
Saw him grow as a collegiate. Became more than a gimmick runner. Now he can catch the ball at the backfield, protect the pass. He can do it all.
Now they hand it off to him, and that's good enough for a first down up to the 27.
We've seen on the first 2 plays now for Melvin Gordon of this drive, his ability to catch the ball in the backfield, which many people question because he didn't do much of it at Wisconsin, but he added that to his game his last year there. And then, of course, being able to run inside. That was his second year at Wisconsin. His first year, jet sweeps, fly sweeps, getting to the perimeter was his forte. He got stronger, was able to start running inside.
First down for the Chargers, who went 3 and out on their opening possession.
Easy, one now. Hey, Lily! Delta! Done!
Delay, and coming down the line and making a nice tackle is Jason Jones. Hey, look at the Lions defensively. Tony, we talked about everything they lost up front. Starting with Ndamukong Suh. We'll talk about some of the other pieces that have taken their place there without their star. DeAndre Levy at linebacker, he's hurt. So Josh Bynes gets a nod. It's a very good secondary. In fact, their safeties combined for 11 interceptions a season ago, with Quinn leading the league. This is Danny Woodhead, healthy again and up to the 35. But Tony, that difference in style for Haloti Ngata.
Yeah, you know, you got a guy like Danny Woodhead back there. When you're a defensive lineman, you got to worry about it. But you know, Haloti Ngata, got a chance to talk to him even before the game also. They play a different style of defense here on the defensive line for the Detroit Lions. They do not play on the line of scrimmage. They play up the field. I talked about it earlier. He feels like he has had his seatbelt unbuckled and he's allowed to just go and play there. He is so happy to be here in Detroit with this team. I'll tell you what, I'm expecting a lot out of him. But one thing, everyone talks about him filling the shoes of Haloti Ngata. He told me, I wouldn't be myself if I tried to be somebody else. So he's going to do it his way here in Detroit. And so far, he's getting a lot of respect from this offense because almost every play so far, he's been double-teamed on the line of scrimmage.
Third down conversion. The first catch is a star charger for Stevie Johnson. It's somebody Charles Davis talked about before this game ever got started.
180! Wide! 80 high! Okay, you're loaded! 390! 300!
First down, fake to Gordon. Play it off to Gordon. One man to beat, does so. Spun down by Ngata after a gain of 3.
Hey, pretty good shape right there. You know, Haloti Ngata way outside. He got a little bit of a pass rush, but those big guys, that's what they're going to have to do. With the speed that this San Diego team has on the perimeter, the big guys inside are going to have to go from sideline to sideline to help this linebacker crew out.
And another reason that you mentioned earlier that they have so many defensive linemen active, they'll keep rolling them in and out in this heat to try and keep them fresh.
Absolutely.
Baron Reed was one of the big pickups in the offseason, and this is Melvin Gordon. He slams his way inside the 45. Boy, nothing timid about that running by the rookie Gordon.
He is not a super flyer in terms of being able to run 4.3 in the 40. But what Melvin Gordon does is combines vision, excellent footwork, and a little bit of power to finish the run. See how he sees it? Now he makes his juke, drops his shoulder, and gains additional yardage against Glover Quinn. Melvin Gordon is a terrific worker in the weight room, stronger than you might think, and it definitely has the ability to run inside the tackles.
14, 8th play of this drive. Woodhead looking for a hold, and there wasn't one there. Wrapped up by Bynes. He's filling in for DeAndre Levy. This is a big start for Josh Bynes.
And Josh Bynes filling in for the all-star DeAndre Levy, but how about a welcome back to Danny Woodhead for the offense of San Diego? We see Bynes there. He's going to have to track a guy like Danny Woodhead all game long, whether he's in the backfield, swinging outside for passes, going into the slot to pick up some of the slack for Antonio Gates. Philip Rivers, ecstatic to have Danny Woodhead back in the lineup.
We had such a great first year here in San Diego. Caught 76 passes, rushed for over 400 yards. Crossing pattern, Keenan Allen inside the 30 and leaps forward, pushed out of bounds at the 23-yard line.
And this is one of those plays that they're running for Antonio Gates, because right there is Keenan Allen. He's in the slot. So essentially, that's a tight end spot. And Keenan Allen came out of Cal with the ability to run a lot of plays from the slot position. They're going back to that now. That's going to help him. So you'll see Keenan Allen, Stevie Johnson, number 11, Ladarius Green, 89, and Danny Woodhead, number 39, picking up the slack for Antonio Gates today.
Woodhead for maybe 2. There have not been many games through the years where Philip Rivers did not have Antonio Gates at his disposal out there. But look at the record, 9-1 without Gates. That's a real surprise.
If you had asked us beforehand and someone popped up that graphic, we would have said 500 at best. 9-1. But that tells you about the ability of Philip Rivers to adapt. Whoever is on the field, he'll find a way to make them better as a receiver.
No, it's 100% true because we checked it 9 times because we did not believe it.
Miscommunication there. Oh, look at this. And Gordon is still on his feet. He's into the end zone. They may bring this back. He may have been down before he spun away right around the 15-yard line. Yeah, they're saying he was down. They're going to spot it.
Ruling on the field that the runner was down by contact at the 14-yard line. Brings up 3rd down.
You need to take a look at this because I'm not sure when you see it on the replay. Watch the hit. Watch hand, and it's not forearm. It's a hand. So when the hand's on the ground, he's good. If it's a forearm or an elbow, then he's down. Watch. Watch his opposite hand. Let's take a look.
With you.
Now let's see if does the ball hit? That could be the issue right there. The ball in his right hand because his left hand kept him up. The ball in the left hand is going to be the issue if they determine that is down.
The timeout has been called on the field
timeout
by San Diego. We're going to check in with Mike Pereira back in Los Angeles momentarily. Gordon called down just inside the 15. 12th play of this drive, so it's a 3rd down and 2. Rivers has him right up on the line of scrimmage. And a back shoulder throw attempt to Woodhead is incomplete. Mike Pereira, how did you see it?
Really an interesting play. Now, here's the issue. If the back of the hand comes down on the ground, that does not put you down. That's considered the same as the front of the hand. But does the forearm get to the ground? It looks like it might. But here's the issue. Since they ruled it down, you can't review it anyways. That's over. Since it was ruled dead at that point, there's no aspect of that you can continue to review. But I actually do think the forearm got down to the ground anyway.
I think you're right. First NFL kick for the rookie out of Texas A&M, Josh Lambo. 3 feet out veteran Vic Novak to win that job. It appears the elbow did touch. 7-3 Detroit. Trying to stay cool along the sideline as the Chargers come away with 3 alongside Charles Davis, Tony Siragusa, Tom Brenneman, and San Diego.
You know, I ordered one of those fans, Tom. They just didn't deliver it here to the end zone.
That's because Fox keeps cutting back the budget.
I'm telling you, I'm cutting back my weight, too. They're not going to recognize me after the game, I'll tell you.
Amir Abdullah will bring it out. Some 7 yards out of his own end zone. And he's across the 30 to the 40 and caught up to the 43-yard line. Already making an impact is Abdullah in just the first quarter of his NFL career.
How about this rookie enthusiasm, bringing it out from deep in the end zone. And a lot of times when you do this, the kickoff team relaxes a little. They think you're going to take a knee. And he gets an angle. Look at the block right there. Look at the vision of Abdullah with a little bit of strength running through the trash for a terrific return.
Good to be young.
Got a nice block there by Taylor Boggs, backup offensive lineman. Joyce Bell up to the 49-yard line. Lions are running the ball very effectively. It's only 1 quarter into this 2015 season, and the Lions are doing exactly what they said they want to do, run the ball. 7-3 lead. NFL on Fox will continue after these messages and a word from your local Fox station. First quarter numbers, both teams have run the ball effectively. A 7-3 Lions lead. Stafford and the Lions from close to midfield. A 2nd down and 4. Looked at Abdullah. Stafford being chased by Lismore. We'll just throw it away. You know, fellas, the most unique voice in sports radio is back on the air and on television. The one and only Colin Cowherd on FS1. Smart Sports Talk is back. The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Weekdays at noon Eastern only on FS1. A third down. Detroit has converted 2 of its first 3. Johnson to the top of your screen. Tate at the bottom. And thrown all the way down at the 35-yard line is Stafford by Kyle Emanuel, the rookie 5th-round pick out of North Dakota State.
Show me one thing, deliver another. Look at the 2 inside backers over the center. They're calling for him to go and block down inside, and all of a sudden, sneak a nice little guy on the outside. Emanuel comes in and takes care of the sack.
Tony, they brought everyone inside, as you noted, and left Emanuel by himself, so there was a breakdown in assignment. Emanuel untouched, unimpeded, directly to the quarterback. Gets the job done.
Now, Eric Weddle made the comment about Kyle Emanuel. Said he plays like a #1 pick. Comes up with a big sack. Look out down there. Nearly touched. The Lions are saying it hit a Charger down there. Tapping around was Jimmy Wilson. And they're saying the football belongs to the Chargers after the 43-yard punt by Martin.
They'll dispute it, but the field judge, Terry Brown, all over the play. See it right there? Ball goes right through. Somehow doesn't touch anyone of the Chargers on that first look. Let's see again. Right through the legs, and then right there is where the dispute will happen. But Terry Brown, you see him right there coming into the picture, throwing the beanbag, had a direct view into the ball and into the call, and determined that the Chargers keep the football.
All right, so the ball spotted at the 22-yard line. Malcolm Floyd in motion, and the hand is to Gordon. Runs away from a couple of tackles, bounces off another, and he's up to the 28-yard line. A good solid gain of 5.
On the last drive, I thought the Chargers made these adjustments. Number 1, spread the ball around to a number of people because they're trying to replace Antonio Gates. So they used different guys in his spot and got the ball to them. And number 2, Danny Woodhead became a bigger part of the offense, even on the field at the same time as Melvin Gordon. Ability to run the ball with Gordon. Woodhead gives you the ability to throw it out of the backfield.
In his 3rd year in native California, 9-7 the Chargers. His first 2 seasons, it was good enough for the playoffs 2 years ago, not last year. Trying to get to the first down marker is Allen, wrapped up by Tulloch. It'll bring up 3rd down and a yard.
And we go back to the beginning of the game. Both of these teams revamped offensive lines. Both teams told us in our meetings with them they want to run the football better, more efficiently. I think we're seeing both of them attempting to do that today, and I thought on the last drive San Diego did exactly that, which helped them get downfield and put some points on the board.
3 tight ends check in on this 3rd down and 1. The Chargers were lights out on 3rd down and 2 or less a season ago, converting it better than 80%. And they're going to throw it. Pump fake underneath, and it's intercepted. And coming back the other way is Glover Quinn for the Lions. Touchdown. Quinn led the NFL with 7 interceptions a season ago. This one pops in the air and lands right into him.
Yeah, this is the old tip drill. Watch Allen 13. Wide on your screen, he's going to run the underneath route. But as he gets it, he gets popped by the linebacker. The ball had popped out of his pads first. Went into the air, allowed Glover Quinn to grab it and go for the touchdown.
That's why the coaches always tell you, run to the ball, be around the ball, because when it gets tipped like that, that's when the big plays happen, the turnovers happen. Glover Quinn, he's a hustler, and that's why he got that touchdown.
Of course, point after move back to what in essence is now a long field goal try off the pads of Allen to the hands of Quinn. Pick 6, Lions lead.
Today's Game on Fox is sponsored by Chevrolet. Find new roads. By DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV. And by Black Mass from Warner Brothers Pictures. In theaters everywhere September 18th.
Week 1 just getting warmed up. Sunday Night Football over on NBC. Giants and the Cowboys tomorrow, a doubleheader on ESPN. And then, of course, Thursday night we begin round 2. The Broncos in Kansas City. Chiefs so impressive in their win earlier today. Big win in Houston. Glover Quinn, the first career touchdown on that interception return. Let's go back and take a look at what happened.
So they show short yardage, power running formation with 3 tight ends, and then elect to throw the football for play action. But Phillip Rivers gets pressure and tries to sidearm it to Keenan Allen, who's coming out a crossing route here. And as he tries to just slip it through, the ball hits Allen in the pads, doesn't grab it with his hands, and when it pops up, he gets hit in the back. Can't reach for it a second time. And Glover Quinn led the NFL in interceptions last year, gets his first of this season, and waltzes into the end zone.
Well, the Chargers now trail 14-3. This drive begins from the 20. Woodhead in the backfield and Rivers back in shotgun, and the play clock nearly expired. First down catch, minimal gain made by Allen. You know, guys, I go back to San Diego a year ago. They did not run the ball well, but when they were in 3rd down and 1 or 2, they ran it effectively enough to convert first downs. Either one of you guys surprised about a 3rd and 1 pass?
Not surprised because it's Phillip Rivers, but surprised because they wanted to run the ball more this year, wanted to be more effective. And bringing DJ Fluker from right tackle into guard gives you a lot more power inside at 339 pounds. I'm surprised they didn't try and run it there.
This is a mammoth San Diego offensive line. Sacked all the way back to the 14 is Rivers. And there's Zeke Alonso, #1 pick 2 years ago out of Brigham Young.
Yeah, they don't expect him to just be better this year. They expect him to be great. To the top of your screen, 94. But watch the coverage first. Where's Phillip Rivers going to go with the ball when the pass rush is in his face that fast? Coverage is there. That ability to cover downfield leads to this. Ansah on one side, Devin Taylor coming at him on the front side.
I'll tell you what, rotating those defensive linemen in, they're fresh in there. I'll tell you, they are aggressive to the quarterback. Look at this bad snap.
And all of a sudden, Rivers just has to throw it away. Took a big hit. Again, it was Ansah giving chase to Rivers, and for the first time, some Bluebirds on the home turf in San Diego.
You know, when you start getting pressure as a defensive line, the offensive line feels it. And that's exactly what you're getting here. They got a little game going on up front. They're moving around. They got fresh legs, fresh guys in there, and that's what happens. All of a sudden, the offensive line starts making mistakes. You get a bad snap. That's when you start getting turnovers and bad play on the offense.
And Ansah's beating their best pass protector, King Dunlop, upfield.
Punted away by Cypress. And this is Golden Tate from the 40. Cuts it right back up through the middle, and Tate, another excellent return. He had one of 20 yards his first try, and this one brings him down into San Diego territory, a return of 15. Ansah all over the field that last possession. An outstanding start for this Detroit Lions defense. They were so dominant a year ago, but lost so many of the home run hitters, if you will. That center wrapped up by Manti Te'o. Don't forget Saturday, full day of college football across the Fox networks. Tulsa takes on number 19 Oklahoma at FS1. They broke Charles Davis' hearts yesterday. UTSA and Oklahoma State, then on Fox, Cal, and Texas at 7 Eastern. BYU, UCLA, that could be a pretty good game on FS1, 10:30 Eastern next week.
You're paying for the therapy now, okay? So when I go to that next session, the bill's going to you.
And for those who don't know, Mr. Davis, a former standout at the University of Tennessee, his alma mater losing late in overtime to Oklahoma yesterday.
How about the power that we're seeing out of these rookie runners running inside? A lot of the time, I think you see young runners get to the NFL, want to get to the perimeter, get away from those big bodies. The two we're seeing today have no compunction about moving inside and gaining additional yards. Melvin Gordon for San Diego, Amir Abdullah for Detroit.
They're down 4. They need to get to the 26-yard line. All day to throw. And it's caught down at the 20-yard line by Lance Moore, former New Orleans Saints standout.
They schemed this play to look like a screen to Joique Bell. Watch Bell's action here, and it looks like they're kind of looking now. You see Stafford move to the right, then he comes back left, and now you get Lance Moore coming from the top of your screen into the middle of the field, finds the open area, and Stafford delivers. Well schemed by Joe Lombardi, the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, Mark Mayhew, the young general manager of these Lions team, who took over an 0-16 team, remember, in 2008. He has made so many solid moves, and there's a touchdown to the #1 pick a year ago, Ebron.
Nobody even around him.
And Tony, no one needed that more than Eric Ebron. Drops last season. His first play of the game today is a drop. They come back to him off of the play-action fake. Weddle, number 32, looks inside. He's looking backside for help from someone else. Ebron could not be any more wide open, and he hauls it in.
Well, he played in 13 games a year ago as a rookie, scored only 1 touchdown.
Had trouble learning the playbook, wasn't playing as fast as he needed to, and his hands were a little shaky. Nice touchdown for him.
What an impressive start this is for the Detroit Lions. Long way to go, 8:49 to play halftime. But it's almost been a perfect game thus far for the Lions. They lead 21-3.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by FanDuel, the leader in one-week fantasy football.
Right after the kick.
(21-3) in favor of Detroit. And granted, fellas, we still have 8:49 to play until halftime. And you get a feeling on this position, the Chargers need a touchdown.
And Jacoby Jones back deep is always a threat to bring it out from anywhere. The Super Bowl record return was 108 yards. So to set up the touchdown on the last drive for Detroit, they're going to show a screen action to Joique Bell. Watch the lineman move, but watch what else happens. See, they kind of show it. See Stafford there faked it hard with his body and then came back to Lance Moore across the middle. And then the very next play, they still had the play action set up. Looked like a run, and because they've run the ball well today, San Diego had to respect it, and Eric Ebron gets one of the easiest touchdowns a tight end will get in this league.
Second career, first this year for Ebron. 21-3, so now Rivers and the Chargers. First down, their leading rusher from a season ago, Brandon Oliver, his first touch today, and just not much there.
Tony, these lines for Detroit, offense and defense, they've really established the tone for the game, haven't they?
Listen, Detroit's dominating the line of scrimmage. I mean, they're blocking up front on offense. They're getting penetration. They're tackling well on defense, and it reflects the score. That's exactly what's going on here. I think, you know, a guy like Tom Brennan probably could have stood back there and threw that touchdown pass. You know, if he got that much time.
No.
It might be a little far-fetched, but, you know, maybe somebody like him.
That would be quite far-fetched. Allen the catch up to the 40-yard line. We're going to take a game break. Wait a minute now. There is a penalty flag down on the play in the secondary. This could be a penalty against Detroit. Leading with a crown of the helmet, perhaps?
Perhaps, because the flag came in after the play concluded, after the tackle was made. That was my first thought, too.
Lee Blakeman, our referee. This crew called the fewest number of penalties in all of football a season ago. And that is a first flag today. Allen into the air.
See right there, that's probably what they're discussing. James Ahedebo coming in with the shoulder, and he's trying to do it correctly. Trying to do what the league's asking.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Defense, number 32 with a late hit. Penalties 15 yards from the end of the run. First down, San Diego.
Well, it's a defensive receiver there, defenseless player there, and, you know,
late hit.
And what they're getting on that, Tony, is Ahedebo tried to do it correctly by throwing the shoulder, not a helmet first, but unfortunately, he hit the head first of the receiver, Allen.
I don't know if I agree with that. Down here on the field.
It's a 19-yard game to tack on 15 with the penalty. Once more into the hands of Brandon Oliver. And while we have a moment, let's take a game break and check in back in Los Angeles with Kurt Menefee.
Marcus Mariota off to a brilliant start for Tennessee. This pass to Bishop Sankey, his second touchdown in the first quarter. They're up 21-0 over the Bucs. By the way, Jameis Winston's first pass in the NFL, a pick six.
Kurt, thank you very much. It's interesting that the opening weekend would have the top 2 picks in the NFL draft, the quarterbacks, and both of them starting in week 1. Breaking a tackle, Ladarius Green. He's a starter at tight end for Antonio Gates. And that's his first reception, and stiff arms his way to the 20.
And Ladarius Green didn't just break any tackler's hold. This is Stephen Tulloch, who's one of the better tacklers in the league. How about that straight arm with this, you know, Green is known as a speed guy, but he showed power, good stiff arm, and knocked the linebacker out of the way.
I'll tell you what, he got some size, too. He was running right at me down here in the end zone. It's a big man running really fast.
Little delay to Woodhead, and he's to inside the 17, down to the 16-yard line.
Tom, you mentioned it as this drive began, how important it was for San Diego, and they heard your urgency. And they've really rolled downfield here in a tough spot, down 21-3. Philip Rivers trying to get things ignited.
Second down and 3 after the carry by Woodhead. He's in the backfield, and once more, almost the same play. And inside the 15 to the 14. Third down and a yard, so here we go again. This was the same down and distance, granted dramatically different field position than a moment ago.
And this time Melvin Gordon comes onto the field, bringing with him number 88 David Johnson, an additional tight end. They showed 3 tight ends on the last third and short. That was the pass that got picked, and Glover Quinn ran it into the end zone. I think they run it here using the rookie Gordon.
We're about to find out. They're in the I formation. David Johnson, an extra tight end, and there's early movement somewhere. If it's against Detroit, of course, it's an automatic first down.
I think Philip Rivers might have gotten it done with a hard count and drew them offside to pick up an easier first down.
Encroachment. Defense, number 93. 5-yard penalty. Yardage is enough for a first down.
It's Tyron Walker. Came over during the offseason from the Saints.
Walker started 1 game for the Saints last year, but they really like what they're getting. But I think Philip Rivers, voice inflection, hard count, drew him offside, and they were able to pick up a cheap first down, one sorely needed.
As a defensive lineman, you got to be ready for that. You got to know it's coming. 3rd and 1, they want to keep the momentum going.
And Tony, they just ran in an additional offensive lineman, did San Diego, number 75, Chris Hairston. He's lining up as a tight end here on the left side.
And they hand it off to Woodhead, and he will find the end zone, Danny Woodhead.
All those big guys up on the line of scrimmage, Danny Woodhead, he is hard to find behind the line of scrimmage.
So here's the additional offensive lineman, but they ran the ball to the opposite side. And look at that block coming back from the opposite side. DJ Fluker, 76, from the guard position, traps Stephen Tulloch, number 55, and creates a large crease that Woodhead finds for a touchdown.
So again, the point after this year, the try moved back to the 15-yard line, which makes it in essence a 33-yard attempt. And it is was good, just snuck in there. A sense of urgency, you bet, for the Chargers. Woodhead to make it a 21-10 game. Danny Woodhead cheering on his teammates after coming away with that touchdown. He wanted that football back. I don't blame him. You earned that, don't you, Mr. Davis?
Listen, he missed most of last year. He's so excited to be back. Give me the football to commemorate the moment.
They should mark that so it doesn't go back in. You know, we've had problems with balls here in the NFL.
We have?
Here. That's all we heard of about the offseason.
Nice to get back to football again, isn't it, gentlemen?
Man, yes, sir.
Amir Abdullah waiting on this kick. He has been so impressive. Granted, in limited touches today. 2 carries, including a 24-yard touchdown and a big return in the opening quarter. And this one will not be returnable for Abdullah.
Let's go and take a look at that touchdown one more time. Now, here on the right end, number 76, that's DJ Fluker. He's going to go and pull to his left, okay, and get the first guy that shows. Now, you would think it would be the tackle, but it's not. Right there, it's Stephen Tulloch. The great thing about this is Danny Woodhead being patient, waiting for DJ Fluker to come by, clear the area, and then hitting it right up the middle. That's a dangerous play when you have such a penetrating defense. You've got to be aware of that.
21-10 with 5:02 to play until halftime. Stafford and the Lions have enjoyed very good field position all day, but this from their own 20. And a strong first down carry by Abdullah up to the 25. There is a penalty flag down right at the 25-yard line where the tackle was made.
Personal foul, grabbing the face mask. Defense, number 56. 15-yard penalty from the end and run. First down.
It's Donald Butler.
You see right there.
He meant 50.
That's 50. That's Manti Te'o, who actually has the face mask. He gave the penalty to Donald Butler. But 50 was Te'o, who had a firm grasp on the run by Abdullah.
San Diego traded up to get Manti Te'o out of Notre Dame in the second round 2 years ago. He's had foot injuries each of his first 2 seasons. Joyce Bell met right at the line of scrimmage by Corey Liuget. Talk to the Lions. They believe Liuget is the Chargers' best defender of the front 7.
I think that they're correct in that assessment, and you continue on with San Diego. What they're banking on is a younger, faster defense to keep improving. Liuget will lead them up front. Young guy just got a big contract. They're counting on a bounce back from Donald Butler. But Melvin Ingram, Manti Te'o, they want them to fulfill their promise. Young guys that they drafted high, that they need to play well. This is when it all starts for them.
And they're without Jerry Atonchi. Second round pick who's also out with an injury. Stafford under pressure. It looked like it was Ingram that time. The closest Charger to him. It brings up a third down.
I think that Ingram and Liuget had an effect on that play. Kind of that pincer move coming into the backfield, coming from both sides. Front side. Watch Ingram 54 right there. Look at that. Making the play.
So very important third down for this San Diego defense. Momentum starting to creep back into their favor. Four-man rush, crossing pattern. Tate dropped right on the spot. An outstanding tackle by Jason Verrett. And the Lions will punt it.
And the number one thing people questioned about Jason Verrett coming out was his size and his ability to get big people on the ground. I think people will find out very quickly that's a non-issue for Jason Verrett. A terrific cover guy, but he's also an excellent tackler in the open field.
Jacoby Jones stands back at his 10-yard line. He should field this punt somewhere around the 3-minute mark. And the Chargers have all 3 of their timeouts. A fair catch at the 17 by Jones.
The big fella, Haloti Ngata, getting involved. His first game action. Remember, he was out all preseason with a bad hamstring. Coming over from the Baltimore Ravens to take up the position left open by Ndamukong Suh. And how has San Diego countered with the big guy? He may have missed all preseason, but they're double teaming the heck out of him, Tony.
I mean, I know what he's going through right now, but you know what? When you get double teamed as a defensive tackle, you know there's somebody free and they're playing with one less guy than they want to. So just the respect that he's getting right now, he's fighting, he's scratching, he's doing whatever he needs to do. I'll tell you what, I was really questioning about his gas and about him not having any reps in the preseason, but right now, this first half, he's really impressed me in dominating the line of scrimmage on the inside.
It's been an effective play here the last drive, and now one play with both Woodhead and Gordon, and that's a nice first down pickup, clock at 2:50.
And normally you have one tailback, one big bruising blocker in the backfield to lead for him, but a lot of times now San Diego's using Woodhead and Gordon in the backfield, trying to make you determine which guy's going to get it.
Gain of 6 by Gordon. And Rivers taking a long time to get this play off. And once more, a little delayed to Gordon, and that could not have been read any better off the edge by the veteran corner Josh Wilson. Brought him in after one season in Atlanta, but he's been a starter with Seattle, Baltimore, and Washington. That'll take us to the 2-minute warning. San Diego all 3 timeouts and this 2-minute stoppage.
This is a 2-minute warning.
21-10 Lions in front of San Diego. Replay every NFL game. Subscribe now at iTunes.com/NFL. 2 minutes to play until halftime. San Diego just 1 of 5 on 3rd down conversion attempts today. Trailing 21-10. 3rd down and 4. They need to get to the 27. And once more, early movement.
The wily veteran, he might have done it again. Philip Rivers changing the cadence, varying it up, hard count. May have gotten the Lions to jump.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense, number 91. 5-yard penalty is enough for a first down.
Remember, Jason Jones, no reps at all in the preseason due to injury. He's eager to get started. Philip Rivers again with the cadence. Gets the Lions to jump for the 2nd time today to give San Diego another first down.
All 3 of those Detroit penalties have come against its defense, and of course that has been a major problem over the last 5 years. They've ranked either 1st or 2nd for most penalties by defensive units in all of football. 5 years in a row.
What you often find is the higher ranked defenses have most penalties. They're so aggressive going after people that they'll have some penalties along the way. And coaches tend to live with it because of the big plays that result.
That's a 2-yard gain on 1st down. Clock at 1:35. As Rivers takes a snap. Looking down the field, and what a throw to Malcolm Floyd. His first catch of the afternoon. Run out of bounds at the Detroit 42-yard line. What a throw by Rivers.
And I don't think he was able to even step into this throw because of the pressure that's in his face. Let's take a look at Philip Rivers in the pocket. Look at how it collapses back towards him. He's not even able to step fully into the throw. That's all arm. See that? He's not able to just step forward, and he puts it on the money to Floyd downfield.
That is incredible. Just over the shoulder of Floyd, 29-yard gain. He beat Darius Slay. Now the clock under, right at 1:29. Down the middle, that's Ladarius Green. Bounces off a bump by Ihedibo and is finally wrapped up to the 19-yard line.
Ihedibo's got to wrap him up on a situation like that. He just can't go and run into his shoulder. I think he's going to go and get a guy with that size down.
And Tony, that play that San Diego just ran, that was the touchdown that Detroit ran to Ebron. Fake inside, pop pass into the middle of the defense is wide open. And to your point, Adetobo's got to wrap him up. You can't just shoulder him down.
Inside the 20, under a minute to go, and a penalty flag again.
This one may be San Diego.
False start. Offense, number 65. It's a 5-yard penalty. This situation also requires a 10-second runoff. However, San Diego elects to take a team timeout as opposed to the 10 seconds. Timeout, San Diego.
This is on Chris Watt, the center. Look in the middle. See, he moved to the, you see right there, Devin Taylor pointing to him? He had just a little twitch in the arm with the pressure there about to snap the football, almost simulating it. And Devin Taylor pointed out, and the officials caught it.
We started our afternoon talking about rookie running backs, but looking around the league, Marcus Mariota, very impressive in his first start, 2 touchdown passes already. And on the very first pass thrown in the NFL career of Jameis Winston, it was intercepted and returned for a touchdown, but he is in good company. The last NFL quarterback to do that, Brett Favre.
So you're saying Jameis Winston?
I'm not saying anything. I'm saying that's a fact. That's
we're
it.
talking Hall of Fame, baby.
Way to think positive,
nothing.
Tom. Way to think positive.
That's right.
There you go.
How about those two matching up? They'll be linked forever throughout their career.
Oh, sure.
And it starts here with game 1.
So San Diego spends the timeout. And Rivers throws. Dangerous throw, incomplete, caught out of bounds by the defender, Rasheem Mathis. So now, it'll bring up 2nd down and 15.
Well defended here. Clock a factor. 44 seconds left to go in the half. Looks to me that Detroit is countering with not just a nickel package. I believe it might be, well, no, it's a nickel package now. They had the dime package out there before with 6. They're going 5 DBs here in this situation.
Rivers begins this game with 252 career touchdown passes. 2 behind time, Dan Faust for the San Diego franchise record. Keenan Allen on 2nd down, gobbles up maybe a little less than half of it. So it brings up 3rd down on the clock in 30 seconds.
That play was very close to breaking big. They couldn't time it up with Joe Barksdale, the tackle, getting out in front of Keenan Allen.
On 3rd down, Rivers to a crossing Woodhead. Very close to a 1st down. They may have to measure this. He needed to get to the 10, and it looked like that's where they're going to spot the football. They're saying 1st down. No measure.
San Diego takes its 3rd and final timeout. This will be a 30-second timeout.
The final one of the half, taken by the Chargers.
Danny Woodhead coming out of the backfield. Looks like he's headed into the flat. Comes inside to hear Whitehead. Picks up the 1st down.
12 seconds remain. Coming up on the Visa halftime. Kurt, Terry, Howard, Michael, and Jimmy. An ugly start for the Houston Texans. A very impressive start for the Kansas City Chiefs, more accurately. Talked about the number 2 and number 1 and 2 picks in the NFL draft meeting today in Tampa. But right now, a situation where San Diego gets a touchdown and they are very much back in this game.
And isn't this Victor Floyd territory? Jump ball type territory into the end zone. Here's Floyd here. That's a big part of this game. It's going to be Malcolm Floyd.
You called it. And it's intercepted in the end zone. Woefully underthrown by Rivers. And that is Darius Slay. The momentum all in the direction of San Diego until this poor throw by Rivers.
Yeah, one thing you can't do on that corner route right there is underthrow it. Right, Charles?
You can't do it at all because you don't give your receiver an opportunity. You want Floyd, Malcolm Floyd, to get a jump ball on that one. And Phillip Rivers, I don't know if he was thinking back shoulder. I don't know what was going on, but in that situation, with Floyd being out there 6'5", 225, going against Slay at 6 foot, you want that ball up in the air.
I'll tell you what, guys, we've talked about this through the years. At the end of the day, give me $1 for every time that play doesn't work. And I'll take my chances. 21-10 at halftime. We go to Kurt Menefee in Los Angeles for the Visa halftime, which begins right now. Today's excitement is brought to you by Nissan. Plenty of excitement for the Lions in the first half.
How about them getting their running game going with the rookie Amir Abdullah? Excellent blocking up front, and he pays it off. And then Phillip Rivers on a 3rd and short tries to find Keenan Allen. Instead, Glover Quinn finds the end zone. And there's not going to be an easier touchdown pass than that for Eric Ebron, is there?
That was today's excitement, brought to you by Nissan, alongside Charles Davis and Tony Siragusa. Tom Brenneman back in the broadcast booth here in San Diego. Chargers will get the football to begin the second half. And Charles, much like the drive prior to that final drive, San Diego needs touchdowns.
Need them in a big way, and they were so close to being able to have a 2-for-1. Interception in the end zone to end the first half. Trying to find Malcolm Floyd. Was Phillip Rivers underthrown or a miscommunication? Interception as a result. But now getting the ball down 21-10. They can't be deflated. Have to continue to run their offense using Woodhead and Gordon in the running game and continuing to spread the ball around without Antonio Gates at tight end.
Well, you see when Rivers has thrown 2 or more picks, and that plagued him especially down the stretch last season. San Diego started so well, beginning 5-1, lost 3 of their final 4. And we start the second half with Woodhead telling the youngster, take a knee. Brandon Oliver. Let's check in downstairs with the big fella, Tony.
Thanks, Tommy. Had a chance to talk to both coaches. You know, Mike McCoy, 2 things he mentioned was the turnovers. We can't have turnovers like we did in the first half. And the second thing he is not happy with that he wanted to address his team was about the pressure. They have to bring more pressure on defense. Now, Jim Caldwell was happy with the first half. He said we need to go and clean some things up there. We can't just go and leave it to the other quarterback making a bad throw. Phillip Rivers is a guy you got to go and finish, and that's what he preached to his guys at halftime. We need to finish this game, finish the half, and get out of here.
San Diego with the football from the 20-yard line. They try to put it in the hands of Woodhead. That was a forward pass, so that's incomplete. Now you look inside some of the numbers from the opening half. It's interesting that the Lions, 21 points, now won a defensive touchdown. But Charles, when's the last time the Lions scored 21.5, had a 21-10 lead, and just threw for a total of 81 yards?
They've got to be heartened by that, to have all that happen, not having to use the high-flying aerial game, being able to run the football a little more effectively, but the defense creating big plays, takeaways, one of them resulting in a touchdown.
The Lions' rushing attack is averaging over 5 yards per carry. That's Allen, and that's good enough for a first down up to the 40-yard line.
Keenan Allen is another youngster with San Diego that's learning to grow up and become a true professional. Did not have the year he expected last year. Averaged just a little bit over 10 yards a carry. Lost a little bit of weight. Took the game a little more serious. And look at the result. We're seeing a nice bit of play from Keenan Allen here on opening day.
Yeah, he took the league by storm as a rookie. Better than 1,000 receiving yards. But those numbers way down last year and very active today. Is that a catch? No. 2nd and 10.
And we see it so often. I don't care what sport. Young man has a terrific rookie year, doesn't he? Gets a little too comfortable. Thinks that he can just go out and do, okay, I'm okay. I don't have to improve my craft. You see the ball bounce out of his arms and hit the ground, so he doesn't complete the process of the catch. But he realized last year, wasn't putting the same into the game that he needed to. I think he took it that way this offseason. Took the challenge, and I think he looks great.
2nd down and 10. Blitz coming. They pick it up. Allen after the defender slipped, and Allen for a first down, crossing into Lions territory to the 47 after Mathis, the 35-year-old corner, lost his footing.
Press coverage. Rashean Mathis doesn't get his hands on him initially, and then with the contact downfield, Keenan Allen, he may have lost a little bit of weight, down to about 206, 207, but he's still strong. And he just bounced right off of Rashean Mathis, opened himself up, and completed the play.
7 catches for Allen, 83 yards. And a San Diego first down on his first possession of the half. And that is once again into the hands of Allen. His 8th catch, I beg your pardon, that's Stevie Johnson, his 2nd catch. And that'll be a gain of close to 8.
You know, one thing down here, guys, that I'm recognizing is the tempo. The San Diego Chargers tempo right now on offense is twice as fast as the first half. He's getting rid of the ball, Rivers, faster, and it's going to affect that defense.
Melvin Gordon bangs his way for a first down to the 35-yard line. Well, Tony, that makes sense, right? I mean, it's a hot day. Why wouldn't you try and run down all those defensive linemen?
Yeah, try to not let them go do substitutions. They got 2 guys in right there, but they need to even speed it up even more. Keep those guys that are on the field and wear them down a little bit.
And they ran a lot of no-huddle last year, 2nd in the league to Philadelphia in terms of who ran the most no-huddle plays, and I think they want to up the tempo because he wants to really snap this team's focus to start the second half, does Mike McCoy, the head coach.
First down and 10. Rivers dumps it off to Melvin Gordon. That's a solid gain of close to 5 on first down for the rookie out of Wisconsin.
And Tony, I think your point about the tempo, I think what Mike McCoy is seeing is he needs a way to really energize his team. And to me, it's similar to a basketball coach feeling like his team's a little lethargic and ordering a full court press.
Yeah, he probably
can go out there and run.
He saw that 2-minute drill there towards the end. I mean, other than the interception at the end, they went down the field pretty quick. And that was an up-tempo series right there that he must have saw something in that.
They play this drive. 3 receivers split to the left, and they set up the screen to Woodhead. Blockers in front of him got a big block, which allows Woodhead to carry down to the 15-yard line. That was the right guard, the former tackle, the number 1 pick, DJ Fluker.
It's easy to follow the ball, but watch Fluker, 76, haul his 339 pounds downfield for an additional block for Danny Woodhead. Look at that, right there. Wipes out the linebacker to give Woodhead at least another 10 yards.
And that's a tackle. He's never played the guard position before, I'll tell you. He's got some great movement.
Woodhead met right at the line of scrimmage, may be able to lean forward for a yard. Gabe Wright in on the tackle. Well, they have some big men and young players the Lions have brought in to try and fill the void of all those departed defensive linemen from a year ago.
And they're missing one today in Karan Reed. Defensive tackle can't go because of a high ankle sprain. They'll need him as his season progresses.
White is a rookie, a 4th-round pick out of Auburn. Ladarius Green, wrapped up by Mathis, who read that play beautifully. 3rd down and long for San Diego.
And we're seeing San Diego, Mike McCoy, head coach, Frank Reich, offensive coordinator, trying to use what Detroit does defensively against them. They want to get upfield, as Tony pointed out, with the pass rushers on every snap. Screen game is a great way to try and slow that down.
Yeah, make those big guys have to run from sideline to sideline. And I'm watching them rotate guys in and out. When they come in there fresh, they're a lot slower going out than coming in.
3rd down and 9. They need to get to the 6-yard line. And that completion does not get them there to Keenan Allen. Well, Mike McCoy appears to be wrestling with his decision of 4th down inside the 10, and now he sends out the field goal unit. Excellent tackle.
I think it's the right play there for San Diego and Mike McCoy. I know the crowd's a little antsy, but you got a lot of half left to play. Good drive to start the half. Don't come away with this with no points at all.
Well, that's 3rd and less than a yard, 4th and less than a yard.
And they've struggled with the short yardage today. So I think Mike McCoy said, let's get something positive here and play the rest of the half.
This will be a 25-yard field goal try. Lambo, the rookie, knocks it through. 21-13 along San Diego Bay. Detroit in front.
Next game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. By Hyundai, an official sponsor of the NFL. By Burger King. Try our Oreo Red Velvet Shake. Now you can have your cake and drink it too. And by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
9:21 to play in the end of the third quarter. Temperatures on the field exceeding 105 degrees.
You can just look at my shirt and you can see that, guys.
But we've been trying to keep you off camera, Tony, for as long as we can for that very reason.
How's the air conditioning up there? Really nice?
Hey, I meant to tell you.
One of you guys have a sweater on? Did I see a sweater on one of you guys?
Well, Charles had one tied around his neck. You know, he wasn't that proud.
Tony, I'll tell you what, at the end of this game, when you launch your comeback, you'll be coming back as a flanker.
I'll tell you, they're not going to recognize me. I have to get my ID out.
That's the second time we've had a ball blown off the tee. And back to the end zone. So it was 21-3. San Diego 10 unanswered. Trying to cool off this Lions offense when we return. You know, guys, it's amazing how little Detroit has had to do or has done offensively in this game. San Diego has run nearly double the number of offensive plays. The Lions have a total of 6 first downs. 3 of them came on the opening drive of the game when they went 80 plays or 80 yards on 8 plays to jump in front 7-0.
It doesn't have that feel, though, does it? I mean, it's surprised to look down and see that number.
And Stafford able to handle the high step and turns a negative into a home run ball for Abdullah. 2 huge plays, 1 a run, now a reception, along with a 3rd in the return game for Amir Abdullah.
But how about the poise of Matthew Stafford? High snap from Travis Swanson, doesn't panic, continues the play, and then he gives Abdullah an opportunity to work his magic downfield.
Look how fast that ball,
that.
once he gets it in his hands, how he gets rid of it.
That was beautiful.
That's unbelievable. I don't even know if he had his fingers on the laces on that throw.
That's part of the drills. Quarterbacks work all the time, Tony, to just get the quick snap and throw it even without getting the laces.
Well, he looks one way, comes back the other to Golden Tate. And he is run out of bounds at the 38-yard line.
And Tony, you mentioned how fast he got out of his hands. How about how he's been doing it all day long? He's catching the ball right back in the pocket, hitting the back foot. Look at this. Quick fake, ball's out of his hand.
He's never in
receivers.
He's never in bad body position either. Both feet are always on the ground. He's always throwing from, his legs up. I'll tell you, he's really got the mechanics.
And he's in the best shape of his career.
Hey, he looks
We
good.
saw
Nice
that at the production meeting. He looks fantastic.
Well, his whole attitude, and we've called a number of Lions games through the years. Watch Stafford grow up before your very eyes. Second down, rolls right, throws down the field, and incomplete. But I think anybody who has spent time around Stafford over the last couple of years would come away the way we felt, Charles. This is a young man who, he comes into the league. It's his 7th year as a starter. He's only 27. Was married during the offseason. He looks leaner. He comes across as far more confident and far more mature. And we were talking last night. This could be the year that turns into a monster year for Stafford.
And they continue to surround him with better players, better weapons, and continue to bulk up the offensive line.
Chargers showing a lot of pressure right over the center here. Let's see if they're going to bring it or if it's a farce.
They bring it. And Stafford is hit into the air. It's intercepted, it looks like.
Yeah, it is.
It is. Intercepted. Ingram made the hit.
Exactly what Mike McCoy talked about going into the half. He wanted his defense to bring as much pressure as possible to force turnovers.
Stafford had no chance.
Today's game is sponsored by Verizon. Watch live local games with NFL Mobile, only on Verizon.
Well, the big hit by Melvin Ingram landing into the arms of the rookie Kyle Emanuel.
And on the right side is where Melvin Ingram makes the big hit, and then Emanuel with an athletic diving play to come up with the interception. Nice start for the rookie from North Dakota State. 2 tackles, a sack, and an interception in his first start in the NFL.
Well, we mentioned all the changes along the offensive lines for each team. And coming into this game, the whole right side of the Lions offensive line out with injuries today. Catch made by Keenan Allen. And that's a first down on the throw from Rivers inside the 45. The season stream live local Sunday afternoon games right on your smartphone with NFL Mobile.
And when you're watching on NFL Mobile, you'll see Keenan Allen having a terrific day. They've got something going with him. He and Rivers have realized that Keenan Allen has plays out there, and he's going back to him all the time.
Delayed handoff and tripped up. Is Gordon inside the 40, and we shoot up to Los Angeles and check in for a game break with Kurt Menefee.
What a first half for Marcus Mariota. This is his 4th touchdown pass in the half. Delaney Walker with a short 1-yard catch. 35-7, Titans cruising in Tampa.
How about that, sir? You saw a lot of Marcus Mariota, Charles, the last couple of years. And is this a turnover?
This could very well be a fumble ball.
It is a fumbled ball and a second critical turnover. Of course, they're going to look at it as they do every change of possession.
Field, the Chargers fumbled the ball with a recovery by the defense, and the player was down by contact. First down, Detroit.
Handoff inside. I believe that's Melvin Gordon, the rookie.
Yep.
And 91, Jason Jones was the first guy there, but as he gets to the pile, that's where the action happens. As they're going to take a look at it and see if it does become Detroit's ball.
Melvin Gordon carried it. Jason Jones stripped it. Stephen Tulloch recovers it. Detroit ball, and the last 2 possessions where the Chargers had the football in Detroit territory, they have turned it over. The interception at the end of the opening half, and now the fumble by Gordon. Detroit has done next to nothing on offense since that first drive of the game. And nowhere to go there for Joyke Bell.
So let's see what happens. Watch Jason Jones work inside here and make the big hit in the strip of Melvin Gordon. Ball pops out right there. And then Stephen Tulloch, 55, gets on the football. Melvin Gordon was not known as a fumbler in college, but in college, you're an NFL guy. Most of the guys you're playing with, they're going to be CPAs or lawyers. They're not going to be NFL guys. It's a little bit different here.
Screen set up, and that is read beautifully. This is a young man they talked a lot about. Number 51, Kyle Emanuel, 5th-round draft choice out of North Dakota State, was a defensive end. In college, goes to linebacker in this 3-4, and right from the get-go, Eric Weddle, his defensive teammate, said, this guy plays like a #1 draft pick.
And he's just stepped in for Jerry Attitude, who was not able to play today due to a hamstring. Emanuel won 4 straight national championships on the 1AA level in college. He understands winning.
Play clock down to 2. Stafford being chased and throws right to the defendant. Intercepted along the sideline and stepping out of bounds is Patrick Robinson, former #1 pick of the Saints, and this is his first year as a Charger, and a poor decision here by Stafford.
And he's playing as a nickel back in the slot. Watch him work downfield. I believe that's Golden Tate 15. Stafford thinks Tate is going to continue his route to the sideline. Tate takes it upfield. Robinson reads it and makes the interception.
Robinson does just a great job of keeping his eyes on Stafford, following where he's going with the ball. His eyes never left the quarterback, and that's why he got that interception.
Tony, he did what defensive backs call cluing. He was able to see the quarterback and keep the receiver in his vision, so he never lost track of the receiver. But as you noted, followed the quarterback the whole way, right to the football. Big play for San Diego.
Huge. Now they got the momentum once again. Let's see what they can do with it.
Well, Detroit has had multiple chances really to just kick down the door here in San Diego. And between the tip pass, which was an interception on Detroit's last possession, now the throw by Stafford into the arms of Robinson. An injured player. Does that appear to be Fluker down there, the right guard? It is. We'll be back in a moment on an injury timeout. It is Sunday Night Football on NBC. Giants and Cowboys tomorrow, a doubleheader over on ESPN. And we roll into Week 2 Thursday night. Broncos and the Chiefs. Kansas City winning earlier today. Denver playing right now at home against Baltimore. And Well, you never like to see this. Fluker went down, and they're going to bring out a cart to get him off of the field.
Changed position this year as we take a look at what happened. DJ Fluker moving from right tackle into right guard. Number 76 blocking on Stephen Tulloch, number 55 in blue. And it looks like they rolled up on him on the backside when they made the tackle on Danny Woodhead. The tackle being made on Woodhead, and watch as it rolls into the back of DJ Fluker, the guard from San Diego. Guys, he moved from tackle into guard.
And having a phenomenal game, too.
He lost a lot of weight there. Tough one.
Certainly our thoughts and prayers are with Fluker that he's going to be all right. His teammates wishing him the same, and we check in quickly with Kurt Menefee in Los Angeles.
All right, let's check in with Peyton Manning and the Denver Broncos not having it go their way against Baltimore. Nice juggling catch by Jimmy Smith, 24-yard pick 6 against Manning. Right now, Baltimore leads it on the road at the Broncos, 10-9. Back down to San Diego, Tom, Charles, and Goose.
Well, and getting Jimmy Smith back, huge for that Baltimore defense. They're going to be a force this year.
Fourth-year backup Chris Hairston out of Clemson comes on to replace Fluker.
Harrison's a combo guy, guard tackle. One of the swing guys that has to come in now and play for Fluker. And as Tony said just moments ago, Fluker really accepted the challenge of moving inside. He's been playing awfully well. He got his weight down, taking it seriously.
Great movement, great movement. He's doing a great job inside.
Well, hopefully we'll get some good news from the San Diego locker room on Fluker. 2nd down and 7, 21-13, Lions in front. And Woodhead carries to the 11. So here we go on another 3rd down for San Diego. Chargers defense has really played well to slow down a Detroit offense which began the day on quite a roll. And now it's been a long period of time since Detroit's offense has done anything, but the Chargers have continued to turn it over.
Now, Keenan Allen's had the best half of the pass catchers for San Diego, and he's down closest to us on the bottom of the screen.
4-man rush, crossing pattern, and into the end zone is Stevie Johnson, and all of a sudden the game is on in San Diego.
Patrick Robinson set it up. Now you get Stevie Johnson running something that Antonio Gates would run if he were actually on the field. Running inside from the slot, a little shallow crossing route. Rivers hits him in stride, and Stevie Johnson turns it upfield. I think he's rejuvenated, excited to work with a player like Phillip Rivers. Stevie Johnson on his way towards a big year.
That's a 253rd career touchdown pass in the career of Phillip Rivers, which means he is one away from tying the Hall of Famer Dan Fouts for the most in Charger history.
It's been some day for Matthew Stafford, the 7th-year quarterback for the Detroit Lions. We've seen plenty of good. And we've seen some tough stuff, too. Kyle Emanuel, the rookie, gets to him there, but how about the touchdown pass to Eric Ebron, the 2nd-year pro from North Carolina, and then Amir Abdullah after Stafford showed poise on the swing pass, but then he gets hit, the ball's out. And that play, Patrick Robinson read his eyes as he scrambled out of the pocket, and that interception turned into a touchdown for San Diego. They've drawn to within 1.
You got to like the adjustments they made at halftime, the San Diego Chargers. Bring the pressure like Mike McCoy talked about. Try and force some bad decisions on Detroit's side. That's exactly what happened. And you know what? This game has completely changed.
And Tony, we talk a lot about scheme. John Pagano, the defensive coordinator, did some adjusting, as you noted.
Right.
But I think a lot of that was just, guys, let's go play. You know, let's pick this thing up and go play. And they've done exactly that despite errors that could have had them in a much better position than they're in now. But boy, they've really played hard the second half and have carried it to Detroit.
Yeah, and you know what, Jim Caldwell, when I spoke to him at halftime, exactly what he said. You cannot give a guy like Phillip Rivers time in the pocket. We got to go and finish this game. And he hit the nail right on the head. He's got to circle his team up and get them going back again.
Still a long way to go. 4 minutes to play in the third quarter. And it'll be 1st and 10 at the 20. Well, now all of a sudden, guys, look, let's be honest. Through Stafford's first 7 years, he has done some great things. Won a lot of games late for the Lions. 3 years ago, had the monster year on offense. Last year, not nearly as sharp as he had been in the past. There were a number of articles written about, does he have the mental toughness to do this or that? Whatever you believe, whatever you don't believe. There are critics out there of Stafford, and here we are now where his team had a 21-3 lead, and though not entirely his fault. The Lions now need Stafford to start making plays. Abdullah bounces off one tackle, runs through 2 more, and that's up to the 31 and a first down for the Lions.
And to your point, this is where he can rely on better players around him too. The addition of a guy like Amir Abdullah, get the ball in his hands quickly, let him turn a short pass into a first down. Being able to throw it out wide to Tate and Calvin Johnson. Will Ebron come along? This is a chance now for the rest of the team to rally around their quarterback and make some plays for him.
We have only called Calvin Johnson's name one time today. One time. Had the big catch on that opening drive for 28 yards. For that matter, Golden Tate only 3 catches for 23 yards.
And one thing that I took away from our production meeting with Joe Lombardi, the offensive coordinator, and you guys remember when he said, if we get into some trouble, one thing I have to not do is go to the tendency to play small ball. Still be able to take our shots downfield, still use our big-time targets, and not just totally turtle in, crater in, go out and attack.
Into the hands of Tate. And that is just played beautifully. Barrett and Weddle. 3rd down upcoming.
People are going to try Jason Verrett all the time because of his size. 5'10", 188. People just don't believe he'll hold up in the run or the pass game. Believe me, that young man will.
We got Calvin Johnson on the outside and the trips on the left here, guys.
That's a 3rd down. We'll call it a very long 2, closer to 2.5. And stuffed, it appears short of the first down. It's going to be very close. Very, very close.
I think you're correct in your first assessment, though, Tom. I don't think he got there.
Nope. So the Lions are thinking it over on the sideline. Don't they have to punt?
They got to kick the ball here and try and change the field position. Their defense has had a hard go lately. And field position hurt them on the last one with the interception. You've got to punt the ball downfield. And you see Abdullah trying to lower his shoulder and get there and didn't quite make it. Keenan Allen now back deep.
It's an outstanding defensive stand made by San Diego. Legit denying Abdullah first down yardage. And now a penalty flag thrown.
Delay a game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
Keenan Allen is standing back awaiting on his punt return rather than Jacoby Jones.
And how about Mike McCoy? Tony, you talked about him wanting more out of his team at the half. He's getting it, and now he gets an extra penalty tacked on top that helps his team. And he's showing the emotion he wants his team to play with.
Martin lays into that one with his right foot. And it checks back up. And is down. It hit a Lion out across the 30-yard line. We'll see where they spot it. You know Kurt Sutter, the creator of Sons of Anarchy. Well, he has a new FX original drama. The premiere of The Bastard Executioner, Tuesday, 10
We have a
p.m.
first touch
Eastern,
violation.
only on
30-yard
FX. That's Sons of Anarchy. That's a big league show.
Yeah, big league.
Listen, if this guy created Sons of Anarchy, you know I'm posting up for this one.
I'm telling you.
Okay?
I am too, man. I can't wait to see this.
They might have the Goose in a starring role in that in a couple of years.
Yeah, can we do that a little bit? Can we call somebody, Tom?
And not just a cameo, big fella.
No, I want to be lead.
You gotta get your SAG card.
You'd have been good though in Sons of Anarchy.
Execution. Sword.
They drop it off to Brandon Oliver, and he's across the 45 up to the 47-yard line. And all of a sudden, the Chargers here in the final 30 seconds of this third quarter are knocking on the door to take what could be their first lead of this game.
And they continue to use the screen game effectively. And Brandon Oliver, wearing the 43 made famous by Darren Sproles here, did his impersonation of Sproles on that play. Short, stocky, strong, doesn't go down at first contact, move the ball upfield.
Well, they're just going to let the clock run out, it appears, on this third quarter. In San Diego had the early turnover, but closes the quarter strong, down by 1. We're back after a word from your local Fox station. Joining us as we're set to begin the fourth quarter in San Diego, it looked like a game where the Lions were going to simply run right through the Chargers. San Diego turned the ball over, interception thrown by Rivers at the end of the first half, and then a turnover to begin the second half. But Detroit has been unable to do anything on offense, and it's allowed Rivers and the Chargers to get back into this thing.
And John Pagano, the defensive coordinator, has done a nice job with it. But how about Frank Reich, the offensive coordinator for San Diego? Sticking with the game plan, continuing to execute what's worked well for them. He's found the screen game has been good for them. And Keenan Allen has had a big second half out on the perimeter, being able to throw the football to him.
Second down, and Woodhead tries to beat a couple of tacklers, and he is wrapped up hit hard.
If you're a Detroit fan right now, this is when you're going to find out what kind of team you have as a defense. The defensive line, you guys have 9 guys active on the defensive line. They got to come and make some big plays right now. This is when you need those big guys. That's why they kept so many guys.
And Tony, to your point, they just rolled in a couple of fresh defensive linemen for this big third down.
Well, they have Hunt, Ansa, Nada, and Jones on this third down and 10. Allen has been the go-to guy all day long for Rivers. And he's a go-to guy again, a first down to the 38-yard line.
Rivers does a nice job of just getting out of the way and finding a window to look downfield to find his receiver.
We always talk about mobility in quarterbacks. Those who have the vision, the feet in the pocket, those depth slide steps to find an open window, those are the guys that win. Philip Rivers just showed us how.
And a monster game for Keenan Allen, and we have nearly an entire quarter to play. Woodhead inside the 35, close to the 33. We talked about Allen, the great rookie year, not nearly as sharp last season, and off to an unbelievable start in game 1 this year. 10 catches, 121 yards.
Yeah, they got him in the third round a couple of years ago, but he was a guy with first-round talent. Just couldn't work out as much in the offseason due to a knee injury.
4 on the carry by Woodhead. Rivers crossing pattern, Ladarius Green inside the 15 and dragged down close to the 12-yard line. It's a first down for the Chargers.
That was a busted protection right there. He was wide open coming across the field.
And they may have lost DJ Fluker at right guard. Chris Harrison, 75, has stepped in for them, but look at the pocket there for Philip Rivers. Excellent job by the San Diego offensive line, giving Rivers a clean look for the crossing route to Ladarius Green.
Well, that was Hairston getting locked up, 2 big men, Haloti Ngata. And able to hold him off so Rivers could complete the pass. It goes for 21 yards. And now San Diego knocking on the door, and the door is kicked open, a touchdown. Ladarius Green.
Remember how we talked about Matthew Stafford got the ball out of his hands quickly? How about this with Phillip Rivers? Just a quick fake, ball's out of his hands. Ladarius Green right into the heart of the defense. And Rivers on target.
Well, in a 5-point game, this is where you go for 2 to try and make it a 7-point spread. Talked about the point after try has been backed up to the 15-yard line. The 2-point conversion try is at the 2-yard line.
And they moved it to the hash, the left hash, to set up their play call.
The Chargers did not attempt a 2-point conversion all of last year.
David Johnson might have been moving forward on his motion.
Delay game. Offense. 5-yard penalty.
Man, you're Mike McCoy. So that's a kind of penalty. You are just livid.
Because now you have to kick it. And instead of getting it to 7, 6 puts you in a position to tie it, correct? And an extra point.
Yes, sir.
Puts you behind. That's why he was playing the numbers there to go for 2.
And the penalty is added on from the 15.
That's exactly right. Good call there, T. So this now becomes a 38-yard point after. And again, this is a 1-point try. And how about that?
Outside.
Missed it.
Missed it.
Rookie kicker. Tough situation. Pushes it right.
Rivers has just tied Dan Faust for the franchise record, his 254th touchdown throw.
This game on Fox is sponsored by AT&T, mobilizing your world. By Furious 7, one crew, one last ride on Blu-ray and DVD September 15th. And by Modelo Especial, discover the Especial.
Look from the bay side of Coronado Island into downtown San Diego. At one time, the Lions led this game 21-3. But Phillip Rivers has thrown 2 touchdowns, moving into a tie with Dan Faust for the most in Chargers history.
Dan Faust threw a lot of interceptions, guys, huh?
He sure did.
He wasn't afraid to push it downfield.
Squeeze it in there.
And now Abdullah looking to provide some kind of a spark to what has been a dormant Detroit Lions offense. But this is where Stafford, throughout his career, has generally delivered the goods. Last year, he had 5 game-winning fourth-quarter drives, 17 in his career when the Lions trailed or the game was tied in the fourth quarter or overtime.
And 2 quick things. 1, Matthew Stafford, a sleeve on his arm. I noticed that on their last possession. I wonder if he got hit on the interception. And 2, how do they try and find Calvin Johnson? We haven't talked about him much this game.
They're going to fake it one way and then come back that way to Joyke Bell. That's a beautiful play call. And big-time gain right there out to the 45-yard line.
Hard-charging defensive linemen. They try and punish you with the screen game. Watch over here to this side. Joyke Bell, they fake it to him there, and then they come back to him on the screen game. And look at Laken Tomlinson, 72, getting out front. The big fella trying to rumble downfield and help out.
Trying to make those big boys get tired out with all the running on the edges.
We're getting late in this game now. Fourth quarter, 11-11 to go. And it's a 26-21 San Diego lead. That's a gain of 11 by Amir Abdullah, who's now carried 6 times for 52 yards.
And we go back to Matthew Stafford. Earlier in the game, there's Melvin Ingram with the big hit there, and we wonder if that might have been the shot.
Yeah, it looked like it's
a little bit of an arm injury for Matthew Stafford.
Looked like the helmet right on the elbow there.
Got the sleeve on it now, but he's still out there firing.
Well, nobody has ever debated the toughness of either one of these starting quarterbacks.
Finish the game with no ACL, I'll tell you. Don't get any tougher than that.
No, and then the game we remember against Cleveland years ago when Stafford was slammed on his shoulder, stayed in the game, completing the unbelievable win. There's a flag in the backfield as Bell is chopped down after maybe a 1-yard gain. Weddle coming up to make the tackle. They're pointing to, let's see.
Illegal use of hands to the face, defense number 56. It's a 5-yard penalty from the end of the run, first down.
That's Donald Butler.
Yeah, we talk about guys who we haven't mentioned. How about Pettigrew?
Yep.
You know, talking to the coaches, he had a great preseason. They were ready. He's gonna come back, and he's looking great. They wanted to use him more, but he's been pretty silent today also. The guy a couple years ago, that every other down you heard his name.
But San Diego's done something effectively to take Calvin Johnson out of it, guys, with their coverages. We called his name one time today, and this is a prime time for him to get the football.
First down at the 40-yard line. Good protection here, and a dangerous throw. He had an eye on Johnson, and nearly jumping that to take it away was Weddle.
You know what they did to take it away? They used Eric Weddle. He is over the top as a safety in coverage, helping out. You see the coverage on the inside. He's the third one in. And Weddle essentially became the one-on-one defender against him. Came from the safety spot, came upfield, knocked it away. Eric Weddle, an all-pro safety.
3 times, in fact, in his career, along with their top tackler a season ago. Second down and 10 for the Lions. Abdullah nowhere to go. Now the Chargers are claiming this ball was fumbled. Reyes down at the bottom. And the crew says Detroit football. Well, Jim Caldwell, the 60-year-old native of Beloit, Wisconsin, is hoping his team can come through after Te'o made the initial hit. Boy, they may take a look at that again. It appeared as though this football is loose. Oh, they're going to have to throw the red flag there.
No one's throwing it, though.
I am stunned. Stafford incomplete on third down. It does make you wonder if Stafford isn't.
You wonder about that. They're also out of sync between he and his receivers. Remember the interception that he threw when he got out of the pocket and he thought Golden Tate was going to the sideline, and Tate went sideline and turned it upfield. He ended up throwing it directly to the defensive back. A little out of sync on that route there were the Detroit receivers with their quarterback.
Well, we understand on that fumble by Abdullah there a moment ago that the Lions did fall on top of it. It was ruled a fumble. Punt by Sam Martin, pinning the Chargers down at the 14. Is Stafford playing hurt after the big hit from Ingram early on? San Diego has dominated ever since. The interceptions in the opening half for Rivers. He has been money in the bank here in the second stanza. His team has roared back from a 21-3 deficit and has a football with a 5-point lead, just under 9 minutes to go. Well, that's a dangerous throw there on first down, but it's caught by Keenan Allen, his 11th reception of the afternoon.
All the way at the top of your screen, Keenan Allen working against Rasheem Mathis, the most experienced corner and thus far most distinguished corners. Had 1 Pro Bowl in his past, second team All-Pro when he was in Jacksonville, and Keenan Allen is having a day.
You know what, guys, the biggest thing I'm seeing down here is no pass rush. Nothing like the first half. These guys in this defense have to find a way to go and get upfield, put some pressure on him.
Quick strike to Keenan Allen. And that's a first down out across the 30-yard line. They brought some extra heat. It looked like there was a hit on Rivers that time, but he got rid of it in time.
Bingo. That's the counter to everything. Ball's out of his hands quickly, despite the pass rush by Jamel Cujo, right? Isn't that what he told us that he wanted now
Yes.
instead of Cujo?
Yes, sir. Gordon coughed it up early, you may remember. And he picks up 1. Well, it's been a career day indeed for Keenan Allen. 12 catches, his prior high 11, 139 yards, 4 better than his career best.
And you can see his heightened level of fitness in evidence today, because they'll go to him multiple times, right? And it's not just one throw, then we'll come back to you 5 plays later. At one point, they threw it to him 3 consecutive plays.
Closing in on 7 minutes to play. It is a 2nd down and 9. There's Allen again. Breaks through would-be tacklers. And he is all the way inside the 35. That is Stevie Johnson, who had so many excellent years with Buffalo, was seldomly used last year with the 49ers.
Turned out he had a knee injury and tried to play through it in San Francisco. But Allen got another screen dialed up by Frank Reich, the offensive coordinator. And Tony Siragusa, he knows that Detroit is coming after his quarterback, and he wants it out of his hands quickly.
He wants to take him out. He wants to empty their gas tank. Those big guys, once their gas tank is empty, it's hard to recover. He can't come back off of it. Right now, he's got him running to the perimeter, back forth, misdirections. He's doing a great job of calling the game here in the second half.
And they're letting that play clock run all the way down to 1. They turn around and hand it to Gordon. The penalty flag is down as Gordon slips inside the 30. Clock stops, 6:09.
Holding. Offense, number 65. 10-yard penalty. Still first down.
That's a second-year center out of Notre Dame. Of course, for many, many years, both these teams had outstanding centers here for a long time. Hardwick in San Diego and Raiola with Detroit.
Replaced now by Watt for San Diego. Second-year guy, as you noted, out of Notre Dame. He was a guard at Notre Dame. First time played center when he moved to the NFL level. And then you flip it over the other side. Travis Swanson was a very highly decorated player in college at Arkansas, playing center. He prepped last year under Raiola, playing a lot of guard. Now moves into that role.
Crossing pattern, catch made by Allen. Second in Los Angeles with Kurt Menefee. Hi, Kurt.
Remember the pick six Peyton Manning threw? Well, Joe Flacco returned the favor. Picked off by Aqib Talib. He returns it 51 yards for the score. And they keep going back and forth. Right now it's Denver up by a field goal starting the fourth quarter. Tom and Charles and Goose.
You always think about offense with those two, with a Flacco and a Manning. Defense is going to run both of those teams this year.
Second down and forever. As we approach 5 minutes to go in this final quarter in San Diego, they hand it to Gordon. And he is just swarmed by a host of lines. So this is an important third down in this game coming up. Right now, they would be beyond a field goal try. You're not going to try one at this position in the field with a 5-point lead.
If they can run any type of a route that can put them in that spot and be able to kick a field goal and get it to 8 and put a lot of pressure on Detroit to score and have to go for 2. So it doesn't have to be a route that has to be super deep, just something that puts them in range.
They got to bring the pressure right here.
Third down and 19. Lions showing blitz, and here they come. Rivers crossing pattern to Keenan Allen, and he picks up a first down on 3rd and 19.
It wasn't a screen, but effectively the same thing. It'll come right in here for Keenan Allen. Shallow cross, and then who makes it happen after the catch? Watch how he fakes out ahead of number 32 to pick up the additional yardage. Almost runs totally through Glover Quinn for a huge first down.
And that clock just continues to roll. We're down to 3:30 to play. And a timeout as the play clock was down to 1 second.
San Diego takes its first timeout.
Chargers trying to put this one on ice. It's a 5-point game.
Tonight's game is sponsored by Visa Checkout, the easier way to pay online. Sign up now.
3:29 to play here in San Diego. Only one catch the entire afternoon for Calvin Johnson. It went for 28 yards, and you thought perhaps a big day for Johnson. That was in the opening quarter. Lions had a 21-3 lead. It's now 26-21. Detroit has all 3 timeouts left. Woodhead back to the line of scrimmage. Tony?
You know, just down here, an observation. I am not seeing any kind of leadership on that Detroit's defense. I see a lot of good players. But you know what? During that break we just had, I mean, these guys are just giving up some huge plays. I mean, a 3rd and 18. I don't see anybody talking to each other. I don't see a leader going and getting these guys fired up and trying to get, you know, the last little bit out of them. It's almost like their tank is empty and they can't come back. I don't know if it's, you know, DeAndre Levy, if him not being here is affecting his defense, but somebody's got to rise to the occasion, and I'm just not seeing it out of this Detroit defense.
And Levy's not a super vocal guy, but he's so darn productive. He was a leader like that. Don't forget also Ndamukong Suh, no longer here. Lodi Nada has taken over for him. Remember, Nada just joined the team. Suh had a little more cachet right away because he'd been there.
DeAndre Levy, only Luke Kuechly of the Carolina Panthers a season ago had more tackles than Levy. But he's been bothered with a hip injury for quite some time. What a catch. But it is short of a first down, so this might be the biggest play of the game coming up for Detroit.
Looks like Slade, number 23 back here, is going down. I don't know if he's cramping or something. But
and we have Barksdale, I believe, who went down for San Diego.
Yep, Joe Barksdale, who came in from St. Louis during the offseason. Of course, he grew up in Detroit. He's a graduate of Cass Tech High School in the Motor City.
Tulloch's down there getting stretched out, too. This is where it happens. You got 3 minutes left in the 4th quarter. This is what you run those gassers for. This is the finish that Jim Caldwell talks about. This is where it all happens.
105 degrees on the field at one point today.
Yep.
The emotion of the first game also plays into it. That'll fatigue you quicker than normal because everybody is so amped up to play. In addition to everything you've talked about, Tony, how much they've had to play today. The Lions defense, this second half, all the chasing of the screens, the draws, despite the fact having 9 guys in the defensive line up, Frank Reich, the offense coordinator for San Diego, has done a nice job of fatiguing the Detroit defense with his play calling.
Yeah, this is the area right here where you got to protect the middle of the field. 2 seam routes for touchdowns right here. They just that's the weakness right now in their defense. Those defensive linemen got to get their hands up. You got to find a way to make a play, whether it's a turnover or something, to give the ball back to your offense to go down the field and win this game.
Bottom line, nothing more than a field goal can be given up here by Detroit.
Keenan Allen, by the way, has tied a San Diego Chargers franchise record. Kellen Winslow, back on October the 7th in Green Bay of 1984, caught 15 passes in a game. Allen has 15 today.
Now that defensive line, if they're not going to get the pressure that they had in the first half, they got to get their hands up and start tipping balls, get in the face of the quarterback and not make it easy for him to look downfield and find his receivers.
Well, one Chargers offensive lineman has already been carted off today. That, of course, was DJ Fluker. And now Joe Barksdale in this revamped offensive line. Only King Dunlap, the left tackle, returns in the same position as a starter for San Diego. We'll take an injury timeout. Take a look at this. Trevor Robinson has just come into the game after the injury to Barksdale, and they moved the guy who's been the center the entire game, Chris Watt, over to guard. It's a shotgun snap. Catch is made, first down, and inside the 5 it is Stevie Johnson.
How about Phillip Rivers handling it and getting it out of his hands quickly? Here's the snap. It's a little away from him. Snatches it, and the ball is immediately out of Rivers' hands. Look at it. Gets it, gets rid of it. These quarterbacks do a ton of drills, just catching the football, getting rid of it, not trying to find laces. That paid off again for Phillip Rivers, getting it to a receiver.
Timeout is called. 2:37 left to go. First and goal for San Diego. And, you know, Charles, when this game started and the Lions come out with a 21-3 lead, you're thinking San Diego's in big trouble. What has happened to the Lions since the first quarter of this game?
They were dominating both sides of the line, offense, defense. San Diego took that away from them. Frank Reich, especially on offense, really fatigued the defensive front, and that helped them take control of the game. Plus, they weren't daunted by their own turnovers.
404 passing yards for Rivers. He gives it to Woodhead, and that is a touchdown, San Diego.
Remember, this is an offensive front now that's missing 2 starters and have had to revamp. They took their center, Chris Watt, and moved him to guard. Trevor Robinson's in his center. Chris Harrison had to move from guard, where he was replacing DJ Fluker, to tackle, and they carved a hole in the middle for Danny Woodhead to find the end zone again. And does Philip Rivers enjoy football?
Well, this guy is just such a great leader. He was physically and emotionally battered in 2014 as a point after is good. In fact, Rivers later spoke that he contemplated retirement after the disappointing way that his team finished, dropping 3 of their final 4, including that season finale in Kansas City where they were held to just 7 points in that game, knocking them out of the playoff picture. They just re-signed him to the big long-term deal, and of course everybody around here wondering what long-term means in San Diego. What cannot be denied is that he now shares the all-time franchise record for career touchdown passes with Dan Fouts.
And yes, the long term is something that has to be addressed here in San Diego. Everyone knows about the stadium. Talk about them going to Los Angeles. People thought that Philip Rivers might even get moved in the offseason because of that. Instead, he signed the long-term deal, which gave a lot of people a lot of hope and optimism. Hey, Philip Rivers is going to sign. That has to feel good to us. So everyone's waiting to see. But let's forget the long term right now. In the short term, Philip Rivers had his share of downs today. But that guy's never going to back away. And he's come back in a big way.
Well, you talk about a money drive. I mean, that was a money drive. That's not only an all-pro drive, that's a winner's drive.
And how about that offensive line with the dings that they've had, making their adjustments, and a formidable Detroit defense, and they got it done.
11 plays, 86 yards. Abdullah tripped out just beyond the 15-yard line. This game's not over yet now. It's 33-21, but there is 2:27 left on the clock.
And this is, we've been wondering about Calvin Johnson. Why are they not getting the ball to him? You see 2 guys, actually 3 in the vicinity there. Look at all the spot shadows. Eric Weddle's got him short with another safety that's going to be over the top. It's their version of I Spy. And I Spy in San Diego, number 81. And it's worked very well for them on defense. John Pagano, the defensive coordinator, put it in play, and his team is executed.
21-3 was the score when Stafford found Ebron with that 18-yard touchdown pass. Ever since then, 30, count them, 30 unanswered points by the San Diego Chargers. Stafford throws low. That's a nice catch made by Ebron up to the 38-yard line, which will take us to the 2-minute warning.
This is the 2-minute warning.
Chargers 2 minutes away from officially celebrating an opening week win.
Today's game is sponsored by The Martian, October 2nd, only in theaters.
Now you go all the way back to the interception. We were wondering, and still are wondering, was Stafford hurt? Pick, punt, punt.
And no one expects that with the firepower Detroit has on offense, that San Diego was able to regroup and hold them down from that point on.
2 minutes to go, 33-21, the 30 unanswered points. It's a 21-3 lead for the Lions. And Calvin Johnson takes a big hit. Brandon Flowers on the back end. But Johnson pops right up. Clock down to 1:45.
Look how deep that secondary is going to play now. Keep everything in front.
Pretty shifty move right there by Theo Riddick, who was so good catching passes out of the backfield a year ago. Just trying to hurry up. They can stick one in here quickly, and I mean really quickly. And 1 timeout remaining. Catch made by Ebron down to the 21-yard line. Of course, if they could stick it in there, you would have the onside kick try. But can they get in the end zone?
Detroit takes its 3rd and final timeout. This is a 30-second timeout.
Final timeout by Detroit. The notorious.
A wild card and a rebel. So don't miss an all-new Ultimate Fire Wednesdays only on FS1.
Yes, indeed. Conor McGregor is back. All new of the Ultimate Fighter. Down to the 21-yard line.
You know, in the NFL, people talk about Phillip Rivers and his ability to talk trash. He hadn't met Conor McGregor.
Really?
Okay, Conor McGregor with that Irish brogue, he's going to bring some trash to you now.
Well, and I think he can back it up.
Oh, and he's been punching people out pretty well. He's the interim champion, trying to solidify his spot. .117 remains.
Stafford. And it is, and Weddle intercepted. He did. Looking for Golden Tate in the end zone. Tate was right there. And that will cap off a rough opening week. More specifically, a rough final 3 quarters today for Matthew Stafford and the Lions.
Weddle's all the way back here and just keeps it. He's just going to play the whole thing forward. Just sits there at the goal line, sees the pass, and goes right through Golden Tate's mix. Look at that. It's in the hands of Tate, but Weddle uses his body to take it right out of his hands for what appears to be the game-clinching interception for the San Diego Chargers. It's the reason he's a Pro Bowler. There's a reason he's an All-Pro. He's not just physical.
Is under review.
He's cerebral. They got to look and see if the ball didn't hit the ground as he came down with it. But what a play by Weddle. Look at that. Goes right through and takes it from him.
Tell you what,
right
this
there,
may come back.
This may come back. You see where the ball was. But he did a nice job of using his body to try and shield it off. Let's see if this is going to be overturned.
Either way, today produced by Mark Titleman, directed by Greg Scopatone. Alex Olson, our associate director, our broadcast associate Jordan Wolf. Bob Muller, our technical producer, and our technical director, Dane Crawford. Let's check in with Mike Pereira. Mike, did it look like it hit the ground to you?
Well, it looked like it hit the ground, but the issue is, did he have control first, but did he lose it when it hits the ground? So here he's going to get the control as he goes to the ground. Ball's going to definitely hit. Does he have complete control first, and then does he lose it? I think he does. You know, to me, it looks like an incomplete pass. Now, we always got to remember, what did they rule on the field? They ruled an interception. But again, here as he goes to the ground, you're going to see the ball with really not total control there hit the ground. I like this as an incomplete pass.
I'm with you. It looks like he's trying to get control of it with his right hand.
Yeah. See,
right there.
Right
before
there.
It hits the ground.
Mike, we'll go ahead and make it a clean sweep. We agree with you.
Well, good. Then we'll either all be right or we'll all be wrong.
Well,
I feel better about that.
We're waiting on Clete Blakeman to make his way out onto the field, and here he comes. Eric Weddle wants to know, all right, come on, give me an early hint.
Yeah, Weddle's going back out
the
there.
Play, the defender did not have control of the ball and hit the ground in the end zone. Number 4 by rule, it's an incomplete pass. It'll bring up 2nd down.
So this game is not over yet.
But in any event, how about the anticipation and play by Weddle to break on the football and break up that pass attempt? That would have been a touchdown.
catch made, and into the end zone goes Theo Riddick. So with 1:04 left, we just said a short while ago, this one is not over.
And this is just a simple one-on-one route for Theo Riddick that he beat people on. Watch him here in the slot and watch the catch and then the movement afterwards. Beats Manti Te'o first. And then it looks like Darryl Stuckey, number 25, the safety, is the second person he leaves in his wake with a big move. Riddick last year had 4 receiving touchdowns, tied for the most in the NFL by a running back.
And he had 34 receptions overall, so he did a lot of nice things in the passing game out of the backfield, just to make it a 5-point game. And it is good on the kick by Matt Prater. Biggest play of the game coming up perhaps for the Lions. Of course, you go all the way back to a 21-3 lead and you say, how would it ever get to this point? But the bottom line is, despite everything that has happened, you recover an onside kick right here, you've got a shot.
Let's just go back to the NFC Championship game last year. Green Bay and Seattle. Green Bay unable to secure the onside kick as the receiving team. Seattle gets it. It turns into Seattle getting the chance to go to the Super Bowl.
That's Brandon Pettigrew, who is injured on the point after. Jim Caldwell now wants to come out, and we'll take a timeout. Taking a look at Pettigrew, appears to be moving around pretty well over there. Meanwhile, onside kick coming up.
Got to go 10 yards. The team kicking the ball can't touch it before 10, but the team receiving can go get it at any point. So if you're the receiving team, you go attack it, go secure the football. If you wait on it, bad things usually happen for you. Get too many extra bounces on it.
We'll see which direction they elect to kick it. And they come back to the left. It bounces into the air and off the fingertips of Allen and out of bounds. It will belong to San Diego. Well, he did everything that you can try, did Martin.
See, they moved everyone over to the right, then came back to the short side. See, they blocked. What the San Diego did was they used their front line guys to go block the people coming downfield from Detroit and let Allen secure the football. It bounced off his hands, but into the proper place over the sideline. San Diego gets the football.
Now Detroit out of timeouts. Pardon me, T.
No, that's all right. I just say that's what they teach you. Just
He's put
bat it out of
1 minute,
bounds.
3 seconds at the game clock. 1:03.
So 1:03 left as Clete Bakeman adds a little bit of time to it.
And they're in victory formation here, where Rivers will just take a knee on successive plays. The Lions started so well today. And man, you talk about a tough schedule right out of the gate. A lot of believers in Minnesota. We know about Denver. Go to Seattle before a matchup with a playoff team in the Cardinals a year ago, back in the division against Chicago. Back-to-back road games, and those are not easy games. Cincinnati routing the Raiders today, and then going to Minnesota. But for Mike McCoy and the Chargers, whether or not this will be their final season opener in this stadium and in this city, we're a long ways away from knowing that. What we do know is a rally with 30 unanswered points after falling behind 21-3 to win it by a final count of 33-28. We'll be back with more from San Diego. You're watching the NFL on Fox.